What up, Jippers? LPlay's back once again for another No Man's Sky next update, because today, of course, the update has dropped. It is currently available for Xbox players. I've played for about 2 hours today. I've been absolutely freaking loving it. That's why this video is taking a little bit longer than I would have liked, because the game came out on Xbox and I just couldn't resist jumping in and having a bit of fun before I worried about patch notes. But I know loads of you are going to want to see this and want to know everything that's in here. So we're going to go through, especially now that I've played a bit, I'm hoping that'll give me a bit of context for some of this stuff. And we're just going to talk about all of the new features that have been added in this freaking incredible update. But honestly, I feel like it's one of those things that you have to see to really believe. So here we go. I'm looking at the patch notes page right now. We've got No Man's Sky 1.5. And we didn't have the standard trailer. So I guess I should say, welcome to No Man's Sky 1.5. Next. So let's scroll through and have a look at this. So it says next, introducing update 1.5, full multiplayer experience, near unlimited base building, command of freighters, armadas, and a graphical overhaul, and more. Boom. This update marks the 2-year anniversary of No Man's Sky, and a lot has changed. Please see, and then it just refers to the other updates, and a lot has changed just with this one update. It really is freaking incredible. Of course, they've got the beautiful trailer that we've all seen a million times by this point. If you're like me, you've probably watched it frame by frame a couple of times. But no more! Today is the day. Hopefully by the end of the day, everyone, including the Steam users, will be playing, and we will all be sharing in the Nextmas fun. So we've got multiplayer. So the first thing I want to mention about multiplayer, it doesn't say it in here, it doesn't really mention it specifically because it focuses on the co-op, but I've been playing the game today, and it does still have, in the lobby menu, there are still 16 slots. Now, we know co-op, joining another person's game, or people joining your game, friends or random people, is 4 players. We knew that. That was known for quite a long time. But what hasn't really been talked about explicitly is whether we can still see other players outside of that squad if we happen to bump into them at the same location. I haven't seen anyone test that yet. I assume that you can, because the 16-player lobby looks exactly the same as it always has now in the game. So I'm guessing we can be our 4 players and still bump into other people, but I don't know that for certain, and I'm guessing somebody by the end of today will have tried that and will know for sure. So just keep that in mind. I don't know for 100%, but I'm pretty confident that you can, because there are still 16 slots in there. So we've got multiplayer. It says team up with a small group of friends and explore the universe together, or be joined by random travelers. Help friends stay alive or prey on others to survive. Fight as a pirate wingman in epic space battles. Now, the way that actually works in the game is you can choose to join another player's game straight away from the menu system at any time. Really, really simple, really smooth, completely seamless. You just drop into their game. You don't have to travel for years and years to find them. You can just drop in, join them for a bit of co-op fun, and then drop out of co-op and you just carry on playing on your own. So really, really well done, and I like the way that works. I know some people don't like that, but for me, it should be about the gameplay first, and then things like immersion and realisticness slightly second. And I don't think dropping into a game is breaking the game or ruining immersion for me personally, because it's the exploring together that's the fun bit. You know, it's not really the 20-hour grind to try and get to the same location that people want to do together. Is finding each other and then exploring together. That's where the fun should be. Once you've met up, once you've found your friends, that's when you should be having the fun. So yeah, I think this is really good. It might change, they might update it, they might add to it in the future. We know they're going to add to it. They've said we're going to be getting weekly updates. So right now, that's how it works. It says group up to build communal bases, farms, and racetracks, and then share those with other players online. You can explore at your own pace or progress together from the very start of the game all the way through the story. You can do the full story, the Armor story, the Atlas story, any new lore that they're adding. You can do that as a co-op squad. So you don't have to do the story solo anymore, which is really cool. The actual co-op part of it is really, really fully fleshed out. Like, you can do everything you could do on your own together. So yeah, that's pretty freaking cool. I like it. Everything I'm seeing, everything I've had experience from the time that I've been playing it, I played for about 2 hours, is really, really smooth, really, really good, and very impressive. It says, invite your friends aboard your freighter and take on challenging multiplayer missions from the Galactic Commission Station on your bridge. Communicate vocally using a headset and or using text chat on PC. There are also emotes in the game, so I can confirm that for sure. You can do little wave emotes, sit down emotes, all that kind of stuff is in there. It's pretty fun, and we know we're going to be able to unlock new emotes as well. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's been added just on that one like feature, just around the multiplayer. You can still meet other people in your solo experience as the orbs that we have now. Now, this was quite a surprising one, this next one, and that was community engagement. Soon after the release of No Man's Sky Next, Hello Games has planned its first entire season of weekly content and community events. So we know we're going to be getting free events that we can all take part in the multiplayer, community events that we can all engage with. There's not going to be any microtransactions, and there will be cool rewards and customizations that we can get from doing that. So this is pretty cool. But the big surprise here is that players will also be able to interact with Xbox One Mixer streamers by helping or hindering their gameplay. So if you know a Mixer streamer that plays the game, people like DM21, anybody who's streaming on Mixer, after seeing this, that might be something I even try out, because you guys know I love No Man's Sky. If there's something else cool that I can do with it, I want to be able to do that. But yeah, basically I think the way this will work is people watching the stream can actually select things and do things if they're watching via Mixer on their Xbox, make choices for the person streaming and playing to either help them or make it harder for them. So yeah, that is wild. That is not something I don't think anyone would ever have guessed as a feature that would have been coming in the next update, but that's really cool. Heavy focus on everything community from here on out. We know, of course, we've got the Galactic Atlas website. I won't touch on that too much, but we have got that. It's a dedicated website for the community. It lets us mark points of interest. I'm guessing they'll use it for community events and things as well. Really cool, really slick UI, and you can upload discoveries and all of that kind of stuff there. So yeah, definitely check that out if you haven't seen it yet. I'll put the links to everything below. Base building. This is the one we were all excited about. You can now build anywhere on any planet. High in the mountains, underwater, hundreds of new base parts have been added. So I'll just show this little screen here, just giving a little clip of some of the base parts that have been added. But we have got a heck of a lot of stuff here. Like, base building has completely changed. It's a whole new game now from the base building side of things. There are going to be some really amazing things popping up, and I'm even going to be really trying out the building more than I ever even bothered to try before, because some of this stuff sounds amazing, and being able to just walk somewhere and be like, yes, that looks like such a perfect spot. I'm going to go build a little cabin there, or a castle, or a forest village, or an underwater base, or something like that, or like a mountaintop tower or outpost. Like, it's just going to be awesome. We can meet up in multiplayer, build together. It's just, whew, like, so much cool stuff here. I'm really excited about this, and I'll be honest, right now I just want to get back to playing, because that first 2 hours has already blown my mind and I cannot wait for more. I need it. I need it. It also says teleporters can now be built anywhere on the planet's surface, and the teleporter menu has been reworked. So that's really cool. We're going to be able to build those to get to and from bases, space stations, all that kind of stuff super easily without any hassle. So I think a big part of what they've done here is made the gameplay more accessible, made the gameplay just a smoother experience, tried to take out some of the bits of the grind where that's not fun. You know, there's still left in you still need to get resources, you still need to survive, you still have all of those fun survival elements in the game, but the stuff that wasn't so fun, they've kind of stripped that out and just made it slick, smooth, and seamless. So yeah, I personally feel like they're making some very good changes here, and I think a lot of the newer players are going to absolutely love this, and hopefully many of you guys will as well. Just making it easy for us to jump in, play with friends, and have fun. And it doesn't change that experience. All of this stuff, all of these changes are optional. You know, if you don't want to use a teleporter on a planet because you think it's too easy, don't put one down. You know, if you don't want to be able to drop into someone's game, you don't have to. You know, you can find them as an orb. If you wanted to, you could both go to the same location, you know, like you would now. Take however long it takes for you to journey there, and then once you get there, then allow yourself to jump into the drop-in multiplayer, so it's not breaking the immersion or anything. The big thing about a lot of these changes is they're optional. A lot of this stuff is like, here's a really cool, easy way for you to do that, but you don't have to if that's not your thing. Base complexity and size has now been dramatically increased. We do know that the new limit for base building is 20,000 pieces. 20,000 individual pieces per base, and you can build more than one base on a planet and on other planets and in other systems. So that is insane. Like, that is so cool. The stuff we're going to be able to build together is going to be awesome. And of course, now that we've got synchronous co-op and multiplayer, you can use the terrain manipulator to add to those bases, to bury them, to make little underground ones, to make caves, to make really cool stuff, and it will stay there and other players will be able to see it. So that is going to be awesome. 20,000 base pieces, and then in between that, you can do whatever you want with the terrain manipulator. So I can't wait to see what people make with this, and honestly, I'm really excited to try some of this out myself, even if I end up doing it in creative mode, just seeing what kind of cool stuff I can build. I feel like this is going to add a whole new element of the game, a whole new element to the game that was there before, but just really underdeveloped. It was kind of the foundation for this, I guess, and I'm guessing it's just going to get better with updates as they go now. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be excited about here, guys. Third person mode, so we do know third and first person, you can easily switch between them. I've been doing this today. You drop into your quick menu where you find photo mode and all that kind of stuff, just switch the mode. So first to third person, wherever you are at any point, on a planet's surface and in ship. And I can confirm, breaking news, a lot of people have been wondering, the jetpack boost technique. Some of you that play the game now will know this. Most of you will know this if you play the game now. If you hit the melee button as you jump, you can do like a jetpack boost to really speed you along. Not only is that still in the game, they've added a really crisp animation to it, and it doesn't look stupid. It looks really cool. The guy kind of dives and jumps forward with the jetpack, and he just leans into it as he flies, and it looks really awesome. You'll see that in my gameplay episodes if you've watched that today. Ship controls in both views also allow for true low float mode now, so you can go really low down to a planet's surface. You can even dip your wing into the water as you fly over it, and it has effects. Like when you're flying above the ocean, it ripples up like water vapor and waves, and it just looks incredible. And it's just another thing that I'm loving about the update so far. Here's the bit about the emotes that I mentioned there. So there's a couple of them. You can sit down, which is really cool. I tried doing that in one of the little beds in the outpost. I tried doing it on my ship. I've just been sitting down in loads of cool spots. But I think the sit down one is my personal favorite, just because you can get some really cool like reflective shots. You know, like as the sun sets, you can have your player model sitting on a mountain like gazing up, and it just looks awesome. And you can see your player model in photo mode. It's there. It looks good. If you're in first person, you won't see the player model when you go to photo mode. If you're in third person, you will see the player model when you're in photo mode. Character customization, and I'm pretty confident that this picture they've chosen, they've kind of purposely gone for a classic stormtrooper type look. So yeah, props to them for that if that was intentional. I'm pretty sure it was. It looks cool as hell. But yeah, player customization is awesome. I've done this. Anyone that saw my episode, this is freaking awesome. One of my favorite things that's been added. You can pick from any of the races. Korvax, Viking, Gek, or Traveler. And you can customize pretty much everything. The eyes, the face, primary, secondary, tertiary colors, boot colors, armor colors, everything is customizable. Different types to swap out, different parts to put on. It's just really well done, really in depth. So everyone should be able to get a look that they feel is like theirs, you know. So that's really cool, especially for the multiplayer stuff. The way that works, if you're wondering, it's really smooth, it's really easy. In every single space station, there is a new terminal. You can see that in the picture there. You go there, you jump in, and you can just customize your character at any time, like easily. You don't have to pay units for each thing or anything like that. You just jump in, swap out whatever you don't like, change colors, change race at any point. Really cool. Again, optional. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. I know some people like to roleplay, so they'll pick one character, one look early on in the game, and then they won't ever want to change that. But for everyone else that does want to change it, you can, and it's super, super easy. And there's a little Gek. My Gek looks awesome, but yeah, here's a couple of these. It's just to give you an idea of like the change you can do. And the NPCs in the game as well look way more varied now. So you've still got the same, you know, you've still got the races, the Gek, the Korvax, the Viking, Travelers, but they look really varied, and they're all wearing cool different outfits and clothes. So it's not like you see a Korvax, you've seen all the Korvax, you know, they look a lot more different from what I've seen so far when I've been playing. Just in the like few places I've been, I've seen loads of different types of outfits and stuff on the NPCs. So I'm really glad that they've kind of carried some of that over into the non-player stuff as well. Another big one, freighter enhancements. Here's a picture of some epic looking freighters here and some frigates to go alongside it. You can now assemble and upgrade a fleet of frigates. You can own 50 freaking frigates in your fleet. I can't stop saying that, but it's really cool. They look awesome. I haven't tried this yet. I haven't got far enough to try that in my game. But yeah, there's a lot of new ship types, ship models. Everything looks awesome. The bottom right one there is the one where you got teased through Waking Titan. And I'm guessing this is just a small selection of the ones that we can get. All massive changes, all really cool. And with the frigates you get, you can actually take command of them. You can add an NPC captain and you can send them out to do missions. They will actually go there. So they'll do these missions for you. They'll get into trouble or they'll get rewards, and then they'll bring them back to you and give you little messages while they're out there and give you a full mission log report when they get back. So that is just insane. Such a cool change. Now there's another interesting thing that it says here, and I'm not entirely sure how that works. So I haven't seen that yet, but I'm excited to. It says you can call your fleet for assistance in space battles. So far, so simple. But it also says, or deploy them to help you explore a specific system. So I don't know if that means you'll send them there and then they'll send you a report back saying something like, oh, there's one paradise planet, one hot planet, something like that. Maybe they'll scan stuff and tell you what's there. They might tell you there's cool resources there. I don't know what that means by help you explore, but I'm looking forward to finding out exactly what that means. It's quite vague in here, which is good, because I don't think you should just read the patch notes and ruin it all for yourself, and I don't think you could, because nothing in these patch notes captures the feeling that I got today from playing the game. That is for sure. It is incredible. It looks and feels just so different and so much better than what we've ever had, and I didn't even think what we had before was not great. You know, I thought it was awesome already. So yeah, I'm having a good day, guys. It also says they've improved the freighter base building, so I think they've actually just split out a load of different rooms and corridors and stuff into the freighters, added more parts, added more stuff you can do, so that really lets you build like a proper home in the freighter and make it really cool. So yeah, looking forward to trying out all of this kind of stuff. Now, onto crafting and resources. All core substances and resources have been reworked and rebalanced to increase consistency and realism. So I've been playing for 2 hours. I started off in normal mode. So I'm not in creative, but I'm also not in survival because I'm a coward. But yeah, it definitely seems way, way better. Things like just the resources themselves just make more sense now. You're not picking up like thamium or carbon to do everything, you know? There's a resource that makes sense for the thing that it does. There's oxygen now, there's sodium, there's all of these different resources, and they all just feel more accurate, you know, more immersive in terms of like, oh, that resource does this thing, of course that makes sense. So there's some big improvements here, and I'm really pleased with what I've seen so far, even though I'm only just kind of touching the surface. Planetary resources have been expanded with unique substances and items defined and refined. So this is really freaking cool, and it says that it's based on the planet's biome and weather as well as its stellar classification. So really quite an in-depth like system that they've put in to replace the old red plutonium for everything, or you know, it's quite impressive what they've done with this update, especially when like the big stuff is the incredible way that it looks, the scale, the biomes, the creature behavior, all of that stuff is so good now. The clouds are just phenomenal, like everything is perfect, and then they've also done a load of this kind of stuff to really flesh out the experience. So yeah, I don't think anyone's going to play this and be disappointed. So here's a picture of some of the stuff. The refiner thing is really cool. So basically you put that down and you put like raw resources, minerals, like raw ore type stuff. So the example that I've been through is put some ferrite dust into one side, turned it on, and then it does a little conversion, takes a little while to get churning, and then it pops out pure ferrite at the other side, and that can be used to build certain things. So it's really cool, and then when you're done with it, you can just pick it back up and you get the resources to make it back, so you don't lose anything. It doesn't make it any more grindy, it's just a cool little thing that adds to that realism and kind of makes you feel like what you're collecting and using has more of a purpose and just makes it way more believable overall. And it also says that you can experiment with refiner recipes to discover all the possibilities. So I'm guessing some of the stuff that we can build on like day one as we're starting out, we're not going to know. We probably won't get blueprints for it and stuff like that. We'll just have to have a play around and see what happens. So that's something I'm really looking forward to, just like stumbling across and being like, huh, that's pretty cool. Now we're on to some of the other really big stuff. So procedural tech. Discover unique procedurally generated technology to upgrade your exosuit, multi-tools, and starships. This was something that was once upon a time in the game, something that a lot of people wished had stayed in there. Procedural multi-tools and stuff like that are back. So they have now got a really cool procedural system for generating all of this stuff, technology, tools, weapons, and that's going to make for some really interesting finds while we're out there exploring. The analysis visor has been enhanced and overhauled, so here's a little shot of what that looks like there. There's a lot of really cool stuff on here, especially when you're scanning creatures and stuff. It will come up with like notes about their behaviors, so you'll find creatures and it will say things like makes pictures with sticks or something like that, like some really interesting stuff, and you're kind of like, huh, that's cool. It gives you like a little bit of background story about the creature. You can also tag markers and points of interest. This is really cool. So if you do a scan for something, you find a cool resource or you find a buried piece of loot off in the distance, you can just tag it so you don't have to keep doing the scan to remember where it was. Tag it, it stays highlighted as a little waypoint and you just run straight to it. Real small changes, but they make a huge difference already from me just playing for 2 hours in terms of like making it feel more fluid and more fun. Missions and structure. So the beginning of the game has been overhauled. We've got new story elements and they give you a much earlier look at some of the more advanced stuff. So things like the freighters, things like base building, that's more accessible. You get that earlier on. You get a starter freighter, I believe, within around the first 6 hours without having to pay for it. It won't be a great one. You'll definitely want to upgrade, but they get you into all of those gameplay aspects a lot sooner. The barrier to entry into that stuff isn't like you have to do like 6 days straight of farming to be able to buy something. You know, you can get into it and actually experience all of that stuff really early on, which is a huge improvement, especially when this is coming to a new platform. It also says the envoys in the space stations now offer better rewards and tributes to high-ranking members of their guilds. So doing guild missions, building up an affiliation with one of the guilds will get you better stuff, has a more meaningful purpose and a bit more depth to it. So that's really cool. And there's a load more mission types now, including photography. This is awesome. There are photography missions in the game. You guys know photo mode is my addiction. The addiction is real, guys. And now I can get paid to do it, so that's fantastic. And there's also stuff like feeding creatures, attacking freighters, archaeology missions where you go and dig up rare artifacts or items, and specialized hunting missions. So I'm guessing that's going to be something like go and hunt down a xenomorph, which we'll talk about in a second. Graphical enhancements. So I'm not going to go through this whole list here. I'm just going to kind of tell you what I've seen because it is absolutely incredible. This picture you're looking at doesn't do it justice. You have to kind of play this to believe it. I've been playing it on the Xbox One X. It runs like a freaking dream. The cloud tech is the coolest thing I've ever seen in a video game. I've never seen anything like it. The way the clouds move and warp, and they're all different in different places on different planets, it's just unbelievable. The textures on everything, the ground, the rocks, the grass are a million times better than what we've ever had before. Shaders, lighting, all of that kind of stuff. It just looks light years above what we've had. It's like going from the PS3 to the PS4, you know. It's a huge, huge jump from where we were at with Atlas Rises, and just go and see it. Like, you have to look at some gameplay or you have to play this yourself. It looks freaking incredible. The other huge thing on this front is the draw distance. I have not noticed any of the pop-in, any of the draw distance issues that we used to have with the game from day one all the way up to yesterday, basically. Whenever you were walking before, grass would kind of pop in as you got to it, and that was quite smooth. Like, it kind of would merge in as you were walking along. It wasn't a huge problem for me, but it definitely took away some of the immersion because you'd be running along and the world was kind of generating as you went. Haven't seen that. It's way, way better. You can actually see trees, forests, mountains, hills way off on the horizon, way off in the distance. It's all there. It renders in. It doesn't pop in as you go. And I don't really understand how they've made such a huge jump from where we were yesterday to where we are today, but I am so glad they have. It is awesome. And the actual terrain generation itself is just off the scale now. Mountains look like mountains. Trees can be huge. Rocks look like actual rocks and boulders. Storms and weather effects have been overhauled. I did get caught in a firestorm on my first planet, and that was kind of like a really dusty, hot, sandstormy type effect. It says here, which I find really interesting, that they have biome-specific particle effects. So if you're in like a sandstorm or a firestorm, I guess, on one planet with one type of biome, it might be different to that same sort of storm with a different biome on a different planet. So that's really cool. It just looks a lot better than it ever did before. All of the effects, the animation, the movement, the smoothness of it all just looks great. Planetary rings, of course, another big one that's been added. These look really cool when you're in space and even cooler when you're on a planet. Lining up a picture with a planetary ring in the background is going to be one of my new favorite things to do. It looks phenomenal. You're going to love it. And space overall just looks way better, as well as the planets, of course, as well. Asteroids have definitely got way better textures from what I've seen. They don't pop in as much, and they just look and feel better. It's one of those things that's kind of like hard to put your finger on until you go back and watch an Atlas Rises episode, and then you're like, ha. Wow, it's quite a change. And another huge one, and I mean huge. I haven't seen this yet, but I think I'm about to in my next gameplay episode. Oceans have been drastically improved. Way, way deeper, way more varied in terms of their shape, size, depth. The water effects are just so good now, like so much better than what we had before. They move, they flow, they reflect light. It just looks great. When you fly over them, the water sprays up. It's just incredible. And I cannot wait to get out there and start diving down in the oceans to actually explore stuff, because that is going to be really fun now. Even in Atlas Rises, I quite liked finding like an underwater cave or something. I'd always hop into photo mode to look around rather than trying to swim, because I'd drown every 2 seconds. But now moving around in the water is way better. The oceans are just better, deeper, more real feeling, and I think they're actually going to be interesting to swim around and exploring, which is just great. Like, that is such a huge change, something that was missing I think before, but they've definitely listened to what people have wanted and added that in so well. The HUD has been overhauled, so basically what they've tried to do with this is try to make it easier and clearer to read and get the information you need quickly, but at the same time making it less kind of like in your face, less obtrusive and less immersion breaking. It definitely looks and feels so much smoother and cleaner. If you want to see exactly what that looks like, you can go back and watch my episode from today. But yeah, really slick, really nice. Loads of these little UI improvements, loads of these little things that they've added to the menu systems, transferring resources and that kind of stuff, all tweaked and improved a lot, and those little things do make a really big difference. Then there's the space station marketplace. I've seen one of these. I saw that in my episode today. I didn't fully explore it too much. I kind of went in, had a little look around, was blown away, talked to some of the people in there, and just thought, well, there's so much stuff in here that we're gonna have to come back another day to explore like the other side of it. Really drastic change to space stations in terms of what's in there. There is so much stuff here. This little marketplace is basically a big area full of NPC characters with their own little shops and trade terminals. Characters just standing around in between, moving around a little bit. They don't walk around or anything like that, but they do have nice animations kind of standing there, wobbling around, and they're all wearing cool suits and stuff. So it just feels a lot more alive and a lot more vibrant and just much more interesting than what space stations have ever been before. So that's definitely something I'm really happy with, and I'm hoping they expand on that further. You know, I'm hoping at some point with the future updates that we're going to be getting far more regularly now, we might see NPCs start to move properly at some point. I'm guessing this is a big step towards that, you know, a nice foundation that they've put in, but either way it just adds a lot to the game that was lacking a little bit before. Exploration, fauna and flora. This is the one that I think most people want, most people were crying out for. They have improved the behavior of animals and creatures. They move around so much more fluidly. They're just more real than they ever were before. They're not quite as derpy or anything like that. You do get little groups running around in herds, actual little herds of creatures, not just coincidentally moving in the same direction, but really acting as a little group, like a little family or something like that. Their reactions to you are way better. You know, when you feed them and stuff, they'll kind of gallop around you and let others know come over. There's a lot of little things here, little tweaks to that have just made it way more interesting and way more fun to look at. And we can now excavate things like buried ruins to try and find rare artifacts. So there's a lot of stuff in there that makes just walking around and exploring planets and things just better than it ever was before. Add all of that on top of just how incredible it looks now and the new assets and things that have been popped in. And of course, on the picture there, we saw them in the trailer. We get a good look at it in that little picture on the right there. The Xenomorph has been added to the game. I don't know if that's what they're officially called in the game when you scan them, but these little scorpion alien monster things, they look terrifying. They are real. They're in the game. They do travel around in little groups. They do come after you. I've heard some really cool things about how that works. I won't spoil that. I think that's one of those things you have to see to really enjoy it. So I don't want to talk too much about that. But I've heard some good stuff about these. They will be scary. You will get scared by them. And it will be fun. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. And they just look cool as hell. I mean, there was never really a ferocious looking creature. And stuff like this really adds to that a lot, way more. And it does also give a nice little warning here that says be careful if you touch the eggs. So that's as much as I'll say on that one, but yeah, watch out for the eggs, guys. Watch out for the eggs. It does also touch on Sentinel behavior, so I've seen this, really cool. Sentinel's animations and behaviors are much better now, and when they come after you, it's really cool. It actually feels quite intense when they're chasing you, so I did get myself into a bit of mischief. Straight away when I was first playing, I did get the Sentinels coming after me. You can't just get in your ship and sit there and hide. You can't just like shoot them and then they stop coming after you. You have to either take them all down or you have to escape. And there is a wanted level and a countdown timer. So when you get away from them a little bit, that countdown timer will start ticking back from 30, and that's them searching for you. If they don't find you at all or scan you again in those 30 seconds, they leave you alone, you get away with it, but they do keep coming after you. So if you don't hide, you don't run, they will keep finding you, and you will have to keep running or keep fighting, and it makes that aspect way more exciting than it was before. You know, you can't just boom, plasma grenade, it's over, never mind, kind of ignore them. Now you actually get into these little like runaway chases, and it's a lot of fun from what I've seen so far. The music comes all intense and stuff, and I was like running, trying to hide between trees to get away from them. It just, I don't know, it was just a really cool moment for me. So yeah, hopefully you guys are going to enjoy that too. We have improved audio. The audio has been overhauled. There are a lot of changes here. So creatures sound better, NPC sound way better, character sounds, movement, jetpacking, all that kind of stuff. A lot of that has been reworked. It does sound a lot better, and that just adds to that immersion so much. So yeah, really good changes on that. And the soundtrack has been expanded with a load of new music tracks composed by Paul Weir. So that's really cool. That's all of the big things there. I will just quickly scroll through the little patch notes here. I don't think there's anything major in here that I want to pull out, but I know you guys might want to see it. If you want to read through all of this yourself, I'll put the link in the description as the No Man's Sky website. I'm sure most of you know where this is by now. But hopefully you found it interesting, me kind of going through it, especially now that I've had a chance to play the game a little bit and actually see and feel some of this stuff. So it's not just like words on a page. I kind of get the context behind it and I understand it a bit more. There's a lot of stuff in here, a lot of really good stuff, and honestly, just go and play this. Like, play it as soon as you can. If you can't play it, watch somebody playing with it, you know, try and enjoy it, get a feeling for it. It's just awesome. It's really awesome, and I cannot wait to get back and play more right now. So I am going to end the episode there as I kind of scroll through these. Hopefully you enjoyed that one, guys. If you did enjoy it, please do drop a like and a comment. That stuff does help like crazy. If you do want to support me that little bit extra, I have got a merch store and a Patreon. And don't forget, I have started my own Jipper colony in-game across all platforms, PC, Xbox, and PS4. The link for the Discord to join that and get involved will be in the pinned comment and the description too. So yeah, check that out. Come and join us today, and hopefully we can all have fun together in next. Take care, guys, and peace.
Just want to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of my current Patreon supporters: Shrocka Majelli, Yo, Madeline J, NTB, Ovin S, Tyler D, Todd Cook, Neil B, Anarchy, Vanilla, Rasmus K, Autumn Long, Lukash, Husband Vader, Amras, Dale from the Atlas Hub, Ty the Blazer, Joanne Anderson, Heath, The Portrait Dude, Akami, Mac for a Day, Ongrad, and Dead D Reza. You guys are the best.